Okay, so not too much audience, but let's start.
In quality.
Yes, yes.
So I hope we have people seeing us all online as well. So, welcome to our panel. We're going to talk about scaling Bluetech innovation hubs. My name is Pedro Rocha Vieira. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Beta-i. We are a collaborative innovation consult based in Portugal, but with offices in Brazil and Belgium, and also now in Boston. Today we're going to discuss how to scale innovation hubs. Beta-i, we have been working in the last 12 years a lot about how to build ecosystems of innovation and technology in different industries, and the ocean is a topic that we really focus a lot. We are strong believers that Portugal can be a major ecosystem and hub globally. But I'm a true believer that in order to promote strong clusters more and more, the concept of clusters can be much broader. And we have to think how to collaborate with other ecosystems and with other players in order to scale innovation. And if there's a sector that I believe that this kind of collaboration makes sense is on the ocean, because ocean is a common asset that we all share, and we are here at the UN Ocean Conference. Also, is an asset that needs to be preserved and developed in a sustainable way. So for that, really demands a common action in terms of how to preserve and how to develop in a sustainable way. So, but there's a lot of times these words are vague. Maybe that's why we don't have too much audience. But so a lot of times it comes what's really the strategy that we need to take in order to promote this kind of collaboration. Where to start, where to focus, what are the priorities, how really to promote healthier and sustainable ecosystems and transnational cooperation. So today we have with us 5 incredible speakers. It's going to be a challenging panel because we have around 40 minutes to conclude. So we have Matt Clayson. It's the executive director of the TMA Bluetech. Bluetech is based in San Diego, so it's one of the most dynamic clusters in the US. He is also the coordinator of the Global Clusters Alliance, so it's bring us the perspective both of a strong ecosystem in the US, but also this vast global network. Then we have Lisa Peterson. She is the co-founder and executive director of See Ahead. So it's a Bluetech startup platform founded in Boston. And she'll bring us the perspective of the New England Bluetech ecosystem, both from a startup, from an investment, and also an impact perspective. And then we have Flavio Andrade with us. And Flavio is the president and co-founder of Ocean Pact, a service company for the sustainable use of the sea. And based in Brazil. It's a very large company that provides multiple services to the maritime sector. And so she will bring us a lot this perspective of the market, and especially the more traditional economy. Then we have Kendra over there, Kendra McDonald's. She is the CEO of Ocean Supercluster from Canada, and so she'll bring us the perspective of this broader national cluster from Canada, one of the most dynamic countries in the world and when it comes to blue economy. We have then finally Ruben Aires, which is the General Secretary of Fórum Oceano. It's the Portuguese Blue Economy Cluster. He's also the former Director General of the Portuguese Maritime Policy, so someone with also a vast experience in this area and a very good partner. We collaborate. We are associate members of Fórum Oceano, and we do a lot of things together, especially the ASPAN and Bluetech Accelerator and many others. So first, I'll ask you very brief to introduce yourselves and your organizations in 1-2 minutes. So we can start with Matt.
Very good. Thank you very much, Pedro. Great to be here. Matt Clayson with TMA Bluetech, like Pedro said, out of San Diego. We're based on a triple helix model, which is basically bringing together industry, government, and academia to further promote the blue economy and blue tech specifically in our region.
Thank you. Then Elisa?
Hi, yes, Alyssa Peterson. I work through See Ahead to help grow the blue tech cluster out of New England area and now also in the Gulf Coast out of Mississippi. And our work centers around the idea of bringing more financial resources to startups in the blue economy space. And so through our work, we have an incubator and accelerator now out of Mississippi, and we also invest through our Blue Angels initiative.
Thank you, Lisa. Flavio?
Hello, thank you. So I'm Flavio Andrade. I'm a naval architect and marine engineer, and I started maybe 15 years ago a company called Ocean Pact. We have now more than 30 vessels working in Brazil, and maybe 1/3 of these vessels are working on the environmental area, another third on subsea services, and we work for the old blue economy I was saying, so the offshore oil industry, shipping, ports and terminals, and that's it. I'm here.
Thank you. And Kendra?
Yeah, so Canada's Ocean Supercluster is an industry-led national cluster in Canada, and we are really focused on growing the ocean economy for Canada with solutions that are digital, sustainable, and inclusive. We have over 500 members and over 70 projects with over $350 million in project value.
And finally, Ruben?
Okay. Ruben Ayres, Secretary General of Fórum Oceano. What is Fórum Oceano? We are the Portuguese Blue Economy Cluster. We represent 136 members from all sectors of blue economy, so we are multi-sectorial. And we represent about 50% of the blue GDP in Portugal. We are aiming at getting the other 50% or creating the other 50%.
So let's start the panel. My first question goes to Matt. And so leveraging on the experience that TMA Bluetech has in terms of this global clusters alliance, what do you see as the major common challenges that the different clusters share? And what do you think would be the most relevant in terms of promoting
That's an interesting question. It's a broad one, and I'd really be curious to know what the panel thinks as well, because this is we don't have a ton of people here, so it'd be nice to have a conversation as well. I'd like to learn from you as well what you think. I think some of the common challenges is that I see it is that we don't. There's not like a common area of collaboration that we could have. And so while we do say that we collaborate, I think if we could have a particular focus and say we want to go after this, and that's kind of difficult because there are so many areas on which we could collaborate that are so important for a sustainable ocean. So just to be able to have maybe 1, 2, or 3 particular areas of focus that we could do, and then to have some measurables behind that as well, and then to judge ourselves based on those measurables, that could be very, very helpful. And so that's what I can say about that. I'm not sure if I answered the entire question, but it's a good start.
Because the ocean is a very vast promoting collaboration. And the ocean we have to really focus and try to get common
I completely agree with Matt. One thing that's focus. We have to have an agenda because and really deliver on that agenda. As I said when we were presenting, all of us are multi-sectorial. And this is, here the challenge is what can be the transversal challenges that we have so we can deliver something that is concrete. For example, we're talking about digitization. This is something that is really important. Canada is doing a very important movement, the ocean supercluster in that area. It's very important for solving management problems of negative impact problems for all industries, but also for the management of maritime space, which is key for blue economy to thrive in a sustainable way. Just an example. So having common agenda in digitization between, for example, inside the Bluetech cluster alliance, in cooperation with other clusters, that would be in the transatlantic, approach, that would be something to move on.
Then I'll move to Elisa, more moving from a global perspective from your experience in New England, which is a people state. You have work with different cities and different programs. So what have been the challenges in gaining critical mass around the different topics and priorities of the blue economy? And what have been your strategies to ignite that critical mass and to really create a strong cluster out of New England?
So we felt like it was important to have a cluster in New England because that's one of the core innovation centers in the U.S. And so we felt if this space was going to really grow, we needed to activate the innovation community out of Boston to apply their skill sets to the challenges faced by the ocean. And so the biggest challenge that we had to start with is that nobody had heard of it. And so we really had to spend a lot of upfront time educating the community around what we were trying to accomplish, why it wasn't all just philanthropy, because that was the immediate reaction we got, like, oh, well, that's what I give my money to for charity, like, this is not a business. And so that was really frustrating, because like the shipping industry is enormous, right? Like the fishing, these are really big opportunities, but the folks who were innovators couldn't connect with and didn't see a connection for them to those industry sectors. And so that's what we spent a lot of our upfront time gaining their gaining an understanding within the tech sector of this being an opportunity. And now one of the things that we're noticing, which is our original goal, is that the mentors that have been part of our community are now starting their own companies, right? And so I think for us, a key success metric is having talented executives from other sectors starting to bring their skill sets into this sector. Because if we're going to grow and flourish the innovation community within Blue, we need more of those people to come in, and we need to welcome them coming in and not create artificial walls to say, like, oh, well, this is not, you're not in this space. You didn't, because we need people who are, whose skill sets are in digital. We need people whose skill sets came out of clean tech and material science, etc. It's not only about marine science.
So building on what Elsa is saying, you come from the corporate side, you work a lot with services, big corporations, and so let's understand the difficulty of stepping into this more traditional sector. So from your experience, what do you think is the bigger challenges that the industry faces at the moment, and what would be done in order to facilitate this to align incentives between the traditional and the new players of the ecosystem to make a more vibrant ecosystem?
Well, thank you for the question. Thank you, Lisa, and also Matt. I think we have an interesting experience in putting together innovation developed many times from startups and managing to put them into real operations very fast. So for example, with TMA, in the very beginning of our membership there, we found a drone that could take off and land from a moving vessel without an experienced pilot, and very quickly we developed an idea of identifying oil slicks, and we managed to buy this equipment and put this to work and have our final customers pay for it. So that's when many times I come back to this point, thinking that the real guys that are using the ocean now, so it's oil and gas, shipping, fisheries, they have the money to sponsor and to foster innovation, because they also need innovation to comply with their own commitment to decarbonization, being net zero at a certain day. So I think that this environment allows a very good opportunity for collaboration. And there are lots of aspects where collaboration can happen and help lower the costs for getting to know the oceans. So in the previous panel they were mentioning that the deep oceans are vastly unknown and that it's very expensive to research in deep waters. But at the same time, the oil industry is really very important. So we, for example, have all the tools to do whatever kind of research in very deep water, 3,000 meters of water depth as of now. So we could use these resources better and share data and information, and these data sharing is amazing. And these initiatives like also the hub ocean from the regions, so having a common platform where data can be shared and the industry must of course learn how to share stuff. They know it's not a competitive advantage and can be very, very useful for many others. Also, fishers, they tend not to like sharing data, but it's not difficult to convince them to have their vessels as a sensor, as carrying sensors. So the world understands better and innovation can work with better data. So I think this is the kind of collaboration that I would like to happen, and hopefully this event here will help. So these weeks we are
focusing the ecosystem on the challenges that we have and also how to monetize on the day-to-day to see the shift the platform is one of the biggest challenges that we see to make sense of the information to monetize that to innovation. Kendra, we've talked about global collaboration, we've talked about regional ecosystems, we've talked a bit of the relationship with traditional and new players. You have the perspective of managing a cluster on a vast country with a lot of, and what I've seen from a lot of countries is that a lot of times instead of the country and the different subclusters in the country to collaborate among themselves, we kind of compete with each other, and that keeps us from optimizing our full potential. So, in your experience, how can we really bring the national ecosystems together and promote that kind of collaboration that can really allow us to have synergies and to scale innovation initiatives?
Yeah, so Canada is a big geography, and there is regional competition. There will always be regional interests. And so one of the challenges for the supercluster was not to become one more competitor in a busy landscape, and an increasingly busy landscape. I would say, I was saying earlier that the pandemic, as much as it had a lot of very negative effects on the ocean economy, I think making the country smaller was one of the benefits. So then our members could see coast-to-coast collaboration and international collaboration in a new way, because everything felt much smaller. So we really focused on where could the national cluster provide value, because we need strong regional hubs, you need density in specific locations. You can't just have sort of an umbrella organization that thinks that you're going to get the momentum that you're looking for. So there were a few places, and one of them was certainly around that connection. So we have over 500 members. We have our ocean asset map, which has close to 4,000 organizations. And so we really try, although we are a small team, to connect and help any clusters build on what's already going on. So either something that the supercluster is doing, or something that we're aware of in another regional cluster, so that every organization is able to build rather than reinvent. So with the momentum that we need for our ocean, we can't be sort of doing the same things over and over again. I think that that matters for Canada. I think it matters globally as well. These are big challenges, and so how do we learn from each other? How do we build off each other? How do we connect things that we're already doing? The other big one was around, I think it's been mentioned earlier, awareness and communication. And so our smaller local regions, they don't have the bandwidth and the communication funds to be able to really create a brand. And so one of the things I think the Supercluster has done is create a brand for ocean in Canada that now all of those organizations can plug into and benefit from. And the last thing is the Supercluster has its own funding. So sometimes, are we a cluster? Are we a funding agency? At the end of the day, the funding allows us to build our cluster faster than we would have been able to do if we had to look for the funding for the initiatives that we wanted to undertake. And that's allowed us to move much quicker. And when you have funding, that allows you to do
No, yeah, that's very interesting. Possibility as a brand and funding to align interests. Ruben, I mean, talking about clusters for Oceania, of course, the cluster for the sea, and it's one of the countries that has a national cluster that actually from the grids in a lot of different sectors. But I would like to explore another angle. Portugal is a small country with a vast ocean, and it's really in a critical moment like this week where we will be trying to position as a global hub. So based on your experience, what do you think that a small ecosystem with a large potential like Portugal has to offer in order to promote collaboration with other clusters and universities?
Well, first of all, the asset in itself. So we have 97% of our territory is ocean, and a very deep ocean. Also, but with this distinction, it has in the same area several types of marine ecosystems. So the diversity of the ecosystem is, considerable, which for example, blue bioeconomy industry, that brings, the potential for diversity in the areas of aquaculture, and also in the areas of the potential for the biotech dimension in that diversity. Also, another characteristic is the kind of ocean that we have. It's a very rough sea. It's in some areas, like in the north, it's really, tough. So when the tech is designed, it has to deliver on the harshest conditions. So if it works here, it works everywhere, in a way of saying. You see that, for example, by the wind float Atlantic pilot that is going on in Viana do Castelo. It is able to deliver and produce electricity, the floating offshore wind, even with 14 meters waves, going on. But it is the product of international collaboration. It is linking minds and talent between California and Portugal. Terrestrial power, it all was born like this. So again, we have a good asset here. So again, that it's in its diversity, also in its harshness, for designing solutions that then can be deployed in other areas, but also the way we work and the way the ecosystem is growing is very open in that dimension. And of course, also we have here another opportunity is the new cycle of EU funds that will bring fresh public money into the area. And most of this, and a big part of these funds in the recovery resilience plan will be to build the Blue Hub, where Forum Oceano was, designated by the Portuguese government with the privilege, but also with the high responsibility of fostering the business model and internationalization of the Blue Hub. 7 open innovation centers in all the ports, multi-sectorial, and 1 Blue Hub school for building for training what will be the new Blue experts. And this also comprising similar structures in the archipelagos of Madeira and Azores. Should not forget islands. Islands are very, very important and are a key aspect in deploying, especially the ocean observation technologies and the digital technologies for managing maritime space. So if we add up, and to be very transposal, what Canada for them is doing very well, this in organizing the ecosystem. Canada benefits also, and with the relation with the EU, because we already have an agreement. Canada is part of the Eureka network. In case of the United States, there is a lot of capital that, and they have a very dynamic capital market that is not, such dynamic as here. In here we have a more traditional venture investment. Well, you can come here and have the context for igniting and accelerating the deployment of that capital in certain solutions with this kind of context where you can scale up technologies faster in the technological side. And here, one last remark about the scalability and also the credibility of technologies is the industrial certification of the technologies that are produced in the ecosystem. This is something that is not more, I would say, initiative is not allowed, but it's very important that the innovation ecosystems, when the pilots are there, they come with the right industrial certification for technologies to be credible for it.
So we're talking about challenges. TMA is a member-based organization. We work a lot with So what we say are the biggest challenges. How do you structure your strategy to really focus on bring value around those priorities?
Well, most of our members are smaller organizations, and they are looking to get a foothold in the market, and they join, and they need buyers. They need people who buy their solutions, and so our job is to go and promote those individual solutions that they provide, and then hopefully find them buyers. Trying to make the San Diego region known as a place where blue tech and blue tech innovation is happening in order to attract the kind of capital interest that would be able to invest in these companies and also to help find them buyers and to promote them. Those are some of the challenges we face, and I wish we could say that we have a lot of capital interests who are specifically in blue tech, but that's also kind of a challenge, is that not many are. So one side where we have to find buyers, and the other side where these companies need to have some investment capital. And so, finding the investment capital is a challenge, but also finding buyers as well. So what we're trying to do at the San Diego region is create like an innovation engine hub, and that attracts capital, that attracts interest. We like to say that we're trying to form a Silicon Valley for blue tech, because we have all the resources there to make this happen. A lot of people don't know what the blue economy is. They don't realize that there's a $3 trillion valuation by 2030. So there's real money there, and so we're trying to promote that industry overall through the lens of innovation and then try to channel in buyers and capital interests to be able to invest in those technologies to help them scale. So basically, we're just trying to be like the scaling innovation engine that makes it all happen for people. But like the challenge, as I said, is the awareness of what the blue economy is and how much it's valued at, where the money could be coming from, and that yes, there are buyers out there that would be able to use these technologies. So I could go on about a couple of our members. I mentioned one at the previous stage. His name is Yi Chao, and he's with Ctract over here, and he provides a technology that is basically a battery based on temperature differentials in the ocean. It goes up and down and up and down, and that creates power. And you can put these batteries around platforms so they don't have to ship in expensive crude oil or fuel. And so basically that's lowering the carbon footprint and increasing, decreasing costs for the platforms. So who knows about this kind of thing? So we have to go out and tell people, and promote this kind of technology. So there could be some additional funding coming in. There could be buyers for the platforms. So that's a challenge we have, is to be able to really promote these things at a level that's effective. And again, to cap it off, just to be able to promote San Diego region as an innovation engine hub, which is where people want to come and look for these solutions and maybe be able to invest if possible. That is what we're doing, and some of the challenges involved as well.
Bringing awareness and the potential that the blue economy is a lot of people keep saying that we are 10 years ago was the clean tech industry, and so now everyone understands the value of 10 years ago. At least you mentioned earlier that when you start the challenge to clarify that value, to differentiate what impact investments or cherish impact investments, money from return more DC perspective. But the ocean, the blue economy is a sector that I see as the intersection of investment and normal DC to be very interconnected because the development of this ecosystem. Impact investment is growing a lot around the world. 1/3 of the funds are impact investments. So based on your experience, how can we bring together more and more these two ecosystems, traditional impact investment, VC players, really to scale the needs of funding that this industry needs?
That's a big question. But I would say our thesis is that if we can demonstrate that there are opportunities with good returns on investment in the ocean sector, that more money will come into the sector. And so the way that we've gone about doing that is by pulling together, to start with, a group of angel investors. And that was a way for us to put capital to work quickly, because we didn't have to raise a fund in order to start getting our community investing in the startups. So our angel investors have invested in 14 companies now over the last 2 years. One of them is actually Ctract. So that's good. And so we have, through that work, facilitated quite a number of investments, and some of them have had up rounds now. One of the deals that we did last year, Beta-i has already had an up round. That's a company that is investing, where we're investing in the creation of alternative feed for feeding aquaculture fish, those insects, and in that way reducing the amount of wild-caught fish that is needed for aquaculture, and also for feeding land-based aquaculture too. So they start in chickens, and so that is a really we think a really important area where it's both a growth industry and it has potential for great impact on the ocean. And so that's what we look for. We look for, within See Ahead, what we're looking for is impact as a first screen, right? So everything's got to go through the impact screen. But once it falls through the impact screen, it needs to have a good investment thesis as well. And so, so that's the kind of opportunities that we're looking for.
Investments towards decarbonation conversion challenges is a big globalized but if you try to identify areas that are really that need a lot of innovation, based on your experience, you highlight one or two key industries that use a lot of innovation.
Thank you very much. I think mentioning principal power, so the offshore wind is picking up in the east coast of the United States, and now in Brazil they started preparing the regulations for that, and we have already several layers of candidates for the best areas in shallower waters with good wind potential, let's say. So technology for having these accurate data is for sure one of those. And back on the decarbonization, I think that we believe that the solutions will not be one. So we have investments in Canada on direct capture of carbon. We have mangrove reforestation happening in Africa, in Asia. We have a small pilot project in Brazil in mangrove reforestation, and measuring in a cheap and reliable and sellable and confirmed manner will demand lots of investments. And I think there is money for that. And another standpoint is the shipping industry. So are we changing fuels? So how long will ships use heavy oil, heavy fuel oil? So there are several studies with ammonia that would be a better way to carry hydrogen or hydrogen, and what will be the transition in biofuels, yes or no? So there are lots of challenges and lots of experimentation and innovation is needed in all these sectors. But I think that energy and knowing how to use these energy on a good spatial management of the ocean, so the coastal zone is not the only problem point to be addressed, but also offshore. So understanding all this, having the right tools and the right communication, so society as a whole demands good actions. So in the previous panel they were mentioning deep waters fisheries. Are we ready for that? We want these fishes where we still don't know what kind of biodiversity is in there. So I think that the spatial planning of the ocean habitats and areas is critical as well. So there are lots of opportunities, and it's very interesting to talk about funding. So in Brazil, of course, we know that we have lots of other challenges, huge challenges as a society. But the oil industry is supposed to invest 1% of their total revenues in innovation. So this is already in place. The only thing needed is to broaden this innovation and direct this to what needs to be done. Not necessarily innovation on how to drill a better well, but maybe innovation on how to follow the decarbonization goals and how to develop the next energies from the sea. So it's offshore wind or waves or energy or temperature differences, whatever it is to be, we need to study and develop the right tools for that.
So it's talking about funding and the things that you mentioned earlier, that one of the main three things that supports cluster as well as the funding perspective. But what in your experience should be the extension of public funding to create a healthy and sustainable ecosystem and to promote the public and private partnership in terms of allocating funding, and if you can add also, all the way in a short time, also to promote public funding for international collaboration.
Yeah, so, where government invests from an innovation perspective matters, and we've seen that around the world, and we're seeing that certainly in Canada. So the fact that we are investing in the blue economy and we are multi-sectoral, we are seeing an increase in overall activity in the blue economy. So that is certainly one of the roles that government plays, and part of the role of the Supercluster program, or what is now the Global Innovation Cluster program, is to change Canada's reputation as an innovation nation more broadly. I think the other role that government plays, which is incredibly important, is as a customer. And so whether that's at the municipal level or provincial level for us, or at a federal level, for companies to be able to point to the fact that they have a customer and government is acting as a customer, that's not easy. Government can be slow as a client, etc. But when they can do that and do that well, that is very powerful for companies as they look for global opportunities. I think, similar to what I talked about at a Canadian level, where you've got regional interests and we need to figure out what are the things that we can do together, I think it's the same thing globally. So we are a national program, we're focused on national interests, we invest for Canadian benefit, that's what we're doing with government dollars and taxpayer dollars. But at the same time, I think we are one ocean and we're interconnected, and what other countries do matters. And so how do we marry programs in other countries with our program to be able to encourage bigger collaborations and more transformational projects, and to the benefit of all of the participants in this consortium. So I think certainly for me, that's what we just got new funding. So that's what I'm looking at for 2.0, is to say, how do we scale what is going on in Canada and connect it to what's going on globally and find some models that work.
Thank you. So last question, we are on the verge of the hour. Formación has been very involved in linking what Sandra mentioned in European consortiums and the European Commission funding. You mentioned also that also at the Portuguese level this is something that is growing a lot. So in our perspective, what could be done in order to leverage better this public funding really to address these common challenges that the ecosystem has?
Building on what Kendra has said, you have to focus in the network of networks. This is kind of also the spirit of the Bluetech+Beta-i, network of networks. And that also not only because of the clusters, acting collectively and themselves, but also with the other actors of the ecosystem. So what does this mean? We have to partner with the accelerators. We have to partner with the incubators. We have to partner with the technology tech. We have to partner with the community of investors, understand what they are searching for, and also try to act as an honest broker of the ecosystem at the end of the day. So this is the pivot role that we need to upgrade in our action. And also by our nature, because we are ourselves as clusters. We are the sum of our members. So what we need to do here is try to articulate this. How do you do that? I think, like the initiative that we are building together, and so there are several actors here that are strategic partners, like Ocean Cluster, TMA Bluetech+, even see ahead of the Atlantic Smart Ports Blue Accelerator Network that is led by Beta-i. Is a consortium of clusters, accelerators, policy actors that focus on one thing, creating an innovation ecosystem where ports act as blue economy hubs. What we are finding out, technologies that bring operational efficiency and environmental positive aspects for ports, but also they become blue business assets for other sectors, multi-sectoral, with things that so it is kind of initiatives that we have to dive into.
Perfect. So thank you so much. We started a bit later. We finalized almost on time. So thank you so much for your participation. I think we have here a good group of people to discuss more things in collaboration. Not too many people, but I hope with good quality, like we were saying. So enjoy the week. We have an amazing week ahead of us where we have to leverage these topics that we just mentioned today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.